Take $1,000, buy euros, use the euros to buy yen, use the yen to buy dollars back. You haven't predicted anything. You haven't held anything overnight. You haven't taken a single risk. You walked in a circle and you returned to the exact place you started. And you have $1,000 and 12 cents. Those 12 cents did not come from you. They came from the shape of the space you just walked through. You ended exactly where you started. But the loop did not close. And in mathematics, when a loop refuses to close, that has a name. The name is not profit. Start with an honest market. 3 currencies, 3 rates. Honesty means exactly one thing. The round trip multiplies to 1. Now take the logarithm, and something quiet and beautiful happens. Multiplication collapses into addition. A product equal to 1 becomes a sum equal to 0. And a sum that vanishes around every loop means there's a hidden function underneath. Give every currency an altitude. Call it phi. Then the exchange rate between any 2 currencies is just the drop between their altitudes. Money becomes a landscape. Every price is a slope. And you can't get rich walking downhill forever on a landscape because you always come back to the same height. That's the real reason an honest market pays you nothing. It has a potential, except sometimes the altitudes don't exist. Sometimes you walk the triangle, add up the 3 drops, and the total isn't 0. And if it isn't 0, then there is no assignment of heights that describes this market. Not a clever one, not an approximate one. None. The landscape was a lie. You're standing on an Escher staircase. That failure has a size, the loop integral of the log rate. Call it phi. $9.6 trillion walks through this triangle every single day. 95% of the defects close in under 5 seconds. 60% in under 1. Something is hunting them. Here's the sentence that changes this whole video. Mathematicians have seen this exact failure before, and it had nothing to do with money. Stand on the equator holding a spear pointing north. Walk to the pole without ever twisting your wrist. Turn. Walk back down. Walk along the equator. Come home. Your spear is now pointing 90 degrees away from where it started. You never rotated it. The surface rotated it. And the amount it rotated is exactly the area you enclosed. That is curvature. Your currency triangle is the same object, so rename everything. An exchange rate isn't a price. It's a rule for carrying value from one place to another. A connection. Converting currency is parallel transport. A round trip is a holonomy. Physicists call it a Wilson loop. And arbitrage is the curvature of that connection. F equals dA. And here's the test that proves this is real geometry and not a metaphor. Price the entire world in cents instead of dollars. Every altitude shifts by the same constant. Every number on your screen changes, and the loop defect doesn't move by 1 atom. Invariance under rescaling is the definition of a gauge symmetry. The numeraire, the unit you measure value in, is a gauge choice. Money is an abelian gauge field. You've been trading in one your entire life. Now add time, and it gets vicious, because holding dollars and waiting is also a transport. That edge is the interest rate, so build a lattice. Currencies going up, time going right, and take the smallest possible square. Convert to euros today. Wait. Convert back at a rate you locked in advance. Or just wait in dollars. Compare. The curvature of that one tiny square is the forward minus the spot minus the interest rate difference. Set it to 0, and you have just derived covered interest parity, one of the most quoted relations in all of international finance. It is not a law of economics. It is the statement that one plaquette of the money lattice is flat. And when it broke after 2008, when traders started quoting the cross-currency basis, minus 40 basis points in the crisis, minus 75 in March 2020, They weren't quoting a price. They had built an instrument that measures the curvature of money. They just didn't know that's what they'd built. Push it all the way. Every asset, every state of the world, every instant. Base space, the world. Fiber, the scale you measure value in. Connection, all prices. Curvature, all arbitrage. And the deepest theorem in mathematical finance, the fundamental theorem of asset pricing, becomes one line of geometry. A market is arbitrage-free if and only if the connection is flat. If and only if a single global function exists that flattens it. You already know that function. It's the risk-neutral measure, the pricing kernel, the object every option price on Earth is computed against. It's the altitude field from 3 minutes ago. And it only exists because the space is flat. So who keeps it flat? Not nature. Curvature erupts constantly, every corner, every millisecond. It gets ironed out by an army of machines that are paid to find it and destroy it. And their entire profit is the integral of the curvature they erase, which leaves a problem with no solution. A perfectly flat market pays nobody to look. If nobody looks, it stops being flat. Grossman and Stiglitz proved that in 1980 without ever drawing a manifold. Money is not a number. It's a connection. And it has to stay slightly bent to pay the people whose job is to flatten it.